President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and the COVID-19 task force differ on the lockdown. We have the story in a bulletin today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahawe Kajura, and in the headlines, Ugandan government starts upgrading health units in Lira City. And Nigerian parents plead with authorities to rescue kidnapped children. And in our sports today, Captain Okwe Lumala boosts Uganda Cranes camp. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Now let's have the news in detail. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yesterday met the National Task Force on the COVID-19 response, and the meeting dragged on the debate of whether there should be another lockdown phase to handle the COVID-19 pandemic.
The COVID-19 task force consists of professional scientists, representatives from various government agencies, including Office of the Prime Minister, Ministries of Health, Education, Trade, Finance, Tourism, Public Service and Joint Security Agencies, among others. The President was, among other things, briefed about the ongoing mass COVID-19 vaccinations around the country and the current pandemic status. While members of the committee insisted that the new variants are stronger and are affecting everyone in a very short stint, they also argued that there would be very little to do unless a lockdown is imposed. Museveni, on his part, indicated that there should be other ways to save the people rather than lock them down. Among other issues, the source said Museveni pointed out that economies, both here and globally, are suffering and that people had just started resurrecting from the effects of the previous lockdown phase. The source claims that Museveni dismissed the lockdown claims, citing it would be harsh for the people, especially those who had just got jobs and business up running just after they had lost them. He told members that there is no way he intends to go in the direction of the lockdown, tasking them to rather develop other means. The COVID-19 task force also gave President Museveni a decision to make on a number of other issues, including bars, schools, restaurants and game facilities, before he could speak to the nation on Sunday.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on, residents of Lira East Division in Lira City will soon have access to better health services following the ongoing upgrade of Onyangati Health Center. The Ministry of Health is currently upgrading the facility into a Health Center 3. Our reporter has more.
The health center, which serves about 11,000 people, has been allocated with 1.5 billion shillings towards its upgrade. The project is implemented under the Uganda Reproductive Mental and Child Health Improvement Project with support from the World Bank. The contract, which is expected to last for 16 months, has been awarded to BMK Group Construction Company Limited. During the groundbreaking ceremony, the outgoing Health Minister, Dr. John Ruth Acheng, said the project will improve access to quality health services. Dr. Acheng, who is also Lira City Woman MP, said the facility will have a maternity ward, one staff house, a pit latrine, a placenta pit, medical waste pit, and an incinerator. The facility will offer services as outpatient department, handle inpatients, a maternity, among others. Dr. Acheng also cautioned the contractor against doing shadow work.
Thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on. The former Uganda Cranes midfielder Mike Mutiaba has petitioned the High Court in Kampala seeking to be compensated after being beaten. We have more on the story.
Mutiaba, through his lawyers of Kamlegea Advocates, contends that on 9th April 2021 at Fufa House located in Mengo, he was beaten 6.1 billion shillings for the damages caused to him. He also wants court to declare that the said action of security by beating him contravened the constitutional freedom granted to him. The respondent in the matter is Akeru Security Services Limited, a security agency in charge of managing safety at Federation of Uganda Football Associations, FUFA. In his filing, Mutiaba highlights that on the fateful day he was in company of other footballers in an armed and peaceful demonstration against acts of corruption, discrimination, diversion of public resources aimed at improving the welfare of the players of the Uganda Cranes, abuse of office, and alleged continued failure of FUFA to pay players their dues in timely manner, and by the time of his beating, he was holding a placard written on Magogo must resign. The file has been allocated to the head of Civil Division Justice Musa Sekana, who is yet to fix a date for hearing. Katende Chabasinga, reporting for TV Africa.
Now moving on, the government is phasing out manual orders for drugs in a bid to address delays and other hitches in the distribution chain. This was revealed by the General Manager for National Medical Stores, Mr. Moses Kamabare, at the launch of the digitalization of drug orders under a system dubbed NMS Plus. Our reporter Hazma.
Mr. Kabembere said the new system is intended to streamline the delivery of drugs in public health facilities across the country and foster accountability. Mr. Kamabere said the app will enable the health facilities to place orders for drugs from the comfort to their offices, and when those orders reach here, health facilities will be able to monitor the progress of their order through National Medical Stores processes, from reception, packing, from the warehouse, loading and delivery. He said training for the digitization process was piloted in 7 health facilities last month and has already covered more than 150 others countrywide. He said they expect to cover all 268 health facilities, which are in phase 1 from Health Center 4 upwards by June 15th. Mr. Kabembere also added that digitizing the order system for Health Center 3s will be carried out in the second phase, while that of Health Center 2s will be in phase 3. Katende Chabasinga, reporting for TV Africa.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, the constitution of Kabale International Airport in Buseruka Sub-County in Hoima District has so far progressed by at least 55%, according to Petroleum Authority Uganda. We have more.
The construction of the airport began in 2018 after SBC Uganda Limited, a joint venture company between Colas Limited of the United Kingdom and SBI International Holdings of Uganda, were permitted by Uganda government. According to Corporate Affairs and Publications Manager, PAU Miss Gloria Sebikari, carrying out of earthworks, drainage activities, powering of cement, and paving of a 3.5 kilometers runway are almost complete, which makes the works 55% complete. She said that the construction of what will, upon completion, become Uganda's second international airport is part of various oil projects that residents of Hoima and Uganda at large will benefit from. Mr. Robert Mukombo, an official from Uganda National Oil Company UNOC, said oil is expected to be refined and exported at the airport, where about 60,000 barrels of oil will be produced on a daily basis. Ms. Sekawira said PAU officials will soon visit all the 171 villages in 10 districts through which the oil pipeline is expected to pass to Tanzania in a bid to establish a compensation rates of their land that is expected to be affected. The exercise, which is expected to begin this week and last for about 3 weeks, will include opening of a bank account and signing of agreements. About 2,500 households and 3,792 people are expected to be compensated right from Hoima to Mtukula in Chotara district, according in Chotara district. Katende Chabasinga, reporting for TV Africa.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Now, in our international news today, relatives of students recently kidnapped by bandits in Nigeria are demanding answers from authorities and their children's return in a country where many schools in the affected regions are closed due to the frequency of mass child abductions. We have the report.
According to authorities, 14 university students and staff were abducted in Kaduna on Saturday and 150 students on Sunday in the government area of Rafi. The worst case this year saw 279 girls taken in Jangebe in February. Malam Abbakari Gimi, the director of the school, said that the government has not made any effort and no government officials have visited or called to check on the matter. Even the commissioner of the police only sent a representative who came and discredited their claims, saying that they only wanted to obtain money from the government. Ransom money demanded of the relatives by the armed kidnappers via death threats in exchange for the release of the children. Police confirmed that a large number of students were abducted and one person was killed but did not release exact numbers. Wasiu Abiodan, the Niger State Police spokesman, said the abduction was carried out by armed bandits on both motorcycles in their numbers. Authorities say that tactical teams have been mobilized to rescue the students. The incident is the latest in a series of mass abductions in Nigerian schools by armed gangs who collect money for ransom.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on, with a new transitional government following the second coup in 9 months, Mali's interim president, Kano Assimi Goita, named Choguel Kokala Maiga as the country's new civilian prime minister on Wednesday in unexpected appointment. We have the report.
Chongul Kokala Maiga is the leader of the 5th June Rally of Patriotic Forces movement, the same group that took part in the overthrow of the former President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta last year. Keïta was forced out by young army officers led by Goita following mass protests over perceived corruption. Army officers, upset with the government reshuffle, detained President Ban Dao and Prime Minister Mokhtar Owane, who were later released and resigned. The transitional president asked for support for his preference over Prime Minister from the opposition M5 movement, a once powerful group which the military sidelined after the August coup. At a crisis summit in Ghana on Sunday, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, decided to suspend Mali from the 15-nation bloc and urged Goita to appoint a new civilian premier and forge a new inclusive government. In its statement on Wednesday, the AU called for the military to urgently and unconditionally return to the barracks and to refrain from further interference in the political processes in Mali.
Well, moving on in Chad, an attack that killed 6 Chadian soldiers at a border post with the Central African Republic will be investigated jointly by the two nations following a high-level meeting held on Tuesday that sought to ease tensions. We have the report.
The Central African Republic said, after expressing surprise at the incident, forcefully denounced it and extended its sincere sympathies to the government and people of Chad. Chad has blamed the strike on the Ka army, calling it a war crime that would not go unpunished, while Ka had blamed the incident on the rebels it said its forces were tracking. Ka often accused its neighbors in the north of providing support to the armed rebel groups from within Chad. The two sides acknowledged the need of understanding the circumstances behind this attack and decided to form an independent international commission of investigation. Both parties agreed to work together to enhance border security.
Well, as Libya approaches its December election, the country's former Interior Minister, Fathi Bashagha, who is a probable candidate, warned the government not to delay the vote, which is slated for December 24th, the 70th anniversary of Libya's declaration of independence. We have the report.
The Libya vote is crucial as the country seeks a return to peace and security, but there are attempts to delay the polls. Libya's former Interior Minister Fathi Bashagha told journalists that it is clear that the present government would prefer not to have elections, which is a commitment which has to be brought to completion. Bashagha added that as far as the elections are concerned, the parliamentary and presidential elections will take place at the same time, simultaneously, where the president for the first time will be elected by direct vote. Bashagha also said that Europe is responsible for the chaos that ensued after 2011 when the West intervened to help end Gaddafi's 4-decade rule. It was announced on Tuesday that Germany will host a new set of Libyan peace talks on June 23rd in Berlin, with the Libyan transitional government due to attend. The gathering aims to bring together powers with interests in the North African country and its transitional government. The meeting is expected to take place at the level of foreign ministers and follow-ups on a first Berlin conference held in January 2020, at which leaders agreed to respect an arms embargo and push Libya's warring parties to reach a full ceasefire.
Well, let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with more news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In a business news today, 16 years after it opened its first outlet in Nigeria, ShopRite, Africa's largest food retailer, has sold its Nigerian operations to a company owned by a group of local investors led by property firm Pacianos Investment, Ketron, who intends to shift the giant from an ownership model to a franchise one. We have the report.
With the acquisition of the 25 outlets in 8 states, approved by Nigeria's Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, ShopRite is the latest South African business to pull out from the West African nation due to supply chain disruptions and repatriation of funds. Ketron said it has plans to keep open new ShopRite outlets and display more Nigerian-made products. South Africa's ShopRite has 2,843 supermarkets operating in 15 countries, amounting to around 35 million customers on the African continent and in the Indian Ocean islands. Other foreign companies have encountered similar operational challenges when doing business in Nigeria's market, resulting in their departure from the country's market, such as Mr. Price Group, Woolworths, and Trustworth International.
Thank you so much, Harry Potter. Now, away from business, in Africa Today Health, Algeria has partially reopened its skies to commercial flights after 14 months of a shutdown to try to keep out the coronavirus, with the first flight of the national carrier Air Algérie taking off for Paris on Tuesday and then landed later in the Algerian capital, Algiers. We have the report.
The reopening has been extremely cautious, with limited flights and strict requirements for passengers. According to authority, those heading to Algiers must have a negative COVID-19 PCR test less than 36 hours before boarding, and all passengers must undergo a 5-day quarantine in a hotel requisitioned by the state. While some passengers welcomed the measures that allowed them to enter into the country, others complained about the many COVID-19 tests they are supposed to take. So far, the number of weekly flights and destinations is limited to 5 cities: Paris and Marseille in France, the Spanish city of Barcelona, the Tunisian capital Tunis, and Istanbul. Other airlines like Tunis Air and Air France are expected to add further flights on their own.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, in our sports news today, the 2016 Uganda Cup winners beat rival Sports Club Villa 2-0 in the return leg of the quarterfinals at the Army Military Barracks Stadium in Bombo on Wednesday, the 2nd of June 2021. We have more.
Goal in each half from Bosi Byaruhanga and second half substitute Milton Kalisa, albeit in a controversial similar fashion, gave the visitors the lead. Sports Club Villa played the final 28 minutes of the second game, a man down following a red card to midfielder Ronald Sechiganda. Vipers' first goal arrived in 27th minute when Bobos Byaruhanga's free kick 35-yard away was connected over the line. Vipers were granted a numerical advantage following the sending off of midfielder Sekiganda for a second bookable offense by FIFA referee Ronald Madanda. Moments later, Milton Kalisa, who came in as a substitute, finished off Basangwa's cutback from the left with the ball kissing upright before it was deemed to have crossed over the line. Sports Club Villa players protested the goal for about 7 minutes before play resumed. Vipers joined Ginger Best Entebbe at the semi-final stage after a 3-1 aggregate win. Bull eliminated Proline 2-1 on aggregate to become the first club to make it to the semi-finals. This year's Stanbic Uganda Cup final will be played at the Masindi Municipal Stadium hosted by Kitara Region. Katede Chabasinga reporting for TV Africa.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, before we end our bulletin, let's have a recap of our top stories. Ugandan government starts upgrading health units in Lira City. And Nigerian parents plead with authorities to rescue kidnapped children. And in our sports today, Captain Okwe Lumala boosts Uganda Cranes camp. That was the news on TV Africa. Thank you so much for joining us from where we started from. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.
This is Africa, and that was the news.